let's talk about recovery. Uh, what should be included in recovery, and then how does one go about recovery?
Yeah, I think the first thing we have to understand is recovery is not always what you do after training. The recovery should be part of the training. So if you're working outside your capacity because you don't have good skill or the proper technique, or your breathing is all over the place, well, you're going to need more recovery after that bout of training because you're working outside your physiological capabilities. Obviously, you have to do that sometimes to create adaptation, but I think a lot of the time we work outside our capacity. Uh, and that creates a lot of stress. So, and then I think, in terms of like active recovery, it's all about our nervous system. It's all about, being able to, again, like push back against that stress and get out of that sympathetic state and into a parasympathetic state, because that's where all the recovery happens. And if you, like, for example, finish a bout of training and then you're straight off and you're busy all day and there's lots of
Mm,
load and external stress, you're never going to recover well, and that's going to spill over into your sleep. You're not going
yeah,
to sleep well, and then you end up going back to training the next day and you're just breaking the system down. You're not creating strength, you're creating, and I know like you see this all the time, and I see it all the time,
mm,
but we just rely too much on external sources for recovery. It's
yeah,
like your nervous system is uh, what is designed for recovery.
mm,
And so we should understand what that looks like and how to elicit a calm state in our nervous system. And then everything else pales in comparison to getting good sleep. But again, if you're not pushing back against stress during the day and you're living in a chronically stressed state, then don't expect to be able to switch off at night,
yeah,
especially if you've got the screen in front of you and you're on the screen all evening, because that's like getting a hot stick and prodding the sympathetic division of your
yeah,
autonomic system. And a lot of the time when we should be in that recovery state in the evening, priming ourselves for sleep, you know, the sleep hormone melatonin released
mm,
from the pineal gland, um, we are we are stimulating ourselves with screens, and that's adrenaline and cortisol. So we're going 360 degrees against our natural biological rhythms by being on this thing in the evening. And yeah, it's a massive, massive problem, especially with kids.
mm. Fascinating. Yeah, because I mean, sleep is such an important time for recovery and healing and all that that's gone on through the day. And if you're not getting your at least 7 hours of sleep or 6 hours, I mean, you're kind of fighting for recovery down the track as the days and weeks go on, really.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's so potent. But I look at the stuff that you do. Like there was this guy that you posted up about. He was like 60 years old and he was skating this bowl. Um, I look at that as the most potent form of recovery, because he's learning, he's having fun, he's in a social environment.
Mm,
People often just see the superficial layers, but when I see that stuff that you're doing with those people, man, there's so many deeper layers to that, where it's actually, I mean, like to get on a skateboard and rip around a bowl, and these people that you're teaching to do that, that is such a wonderful form of recovery, because it's like that hit of dopamine that they get when they achieve something, and it's that
totally.
euphoric good
Yeah.
feeling of achieving things and facing your fear, and like the ripple-on effects that has into their lives. And so, I mean,
Mm.
recovery is like just about having fun as well. We take everything too serious, and um, I think, yeah, sometimes we tend to take things too seriously. But yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you got that huge social well-being sort of mental part that comes into it as well, and and like you said, the sort of the endorphins and dopamine effect from that is actually, that sort of joy factor, and if you're constantly stressed and you know go home, right, I'm going to have beers or wines, and then I'm going to try and force yourself into to relax, but you're constantly on your phone and constantly engaged, and then you're still awake at 11:30 and you're up at 6 o'clock the next morning. I mean, you're not recovering at all. Um,
no, that's why we've got such a huge, rate of, it's one of the leading causes, I feel, of like mental health in New Zealand, and the statistics are staggering. But just this thing, just being on this thing, it actually, it's designed to stimulate the release of dopamine. Every time you get a notification or a like or whatever, it's a little hit of dopamine. And what happens over time is it raises our dopamine threshold. So now you go outside, it's a beautiful sunny day, you've got this beautiful landscape. You're not getting the same release of dopamine than what you would, because you're constantly on here, and
Mm,
it is affected your dopamine threshold. And
yeah,
it's now like scientifically proven. And so it is such a, oh man, it's like,
it's an
I
addiction.
don't know, it's just an extension now of us. It's like an
Yeah,
extension of your arm.
true, true. I mean, sometimes you message me at 12 o'clock with messages. I get a little hit. Days interacting with me.
Yeah, well, man, we're all victim to it, right? Because like I need this for my business, and so
Yeah,
I'm here too much. But I really know now that if I'm on that thing too much, it really affects me uh, mentally, and it also affects my sleep. So I have now had to create some sort of systems and protocols around my own social media use, and I sort of allot times to it during the day, and I certainly make sure I'm off it in the evening,
fascinating.
because it's
Yeah,
like that artificial light. Um, two things that are really important for our sleep: it's light and temperature. And the light in the evening should be low, and the temperature should be low. And we're doing the opposite. We're doing the exact
mm,
opposite. So yeah, we could just got to like sink back into our natural biological rhythms a little bit more. Everything's we haven't adapted as fast as like uh, what is going on around us, right? Since industrialization and how quickly everything's moving, right? We haven't adapted fast enough to it. Like sitting in an office in a cubicle, staring at a screen for 8 hours a day, you're gonna really pay the price for that if
yeah,
you're not aware of what that's doing to you. And
100%. Yeah,
these businesses need to understand this,
yeah.
and they need to create systems and protocols for this during the day, where so people aren't getting burnt out.